So I lived in a studio apartment for a little over a year, and during that time, I learned a lot about cooking for one. It's one thing to know how to half a recipe, but it's another thing to know how to stock your fridge, make the most of your leftovers, and avoid food waste, especially if you're on a budget or dealing with a smaller space. So here, I'm gonna share some of my favorite tips about cooking healthy for one. First, make a plan. So the best thing you can do if you're trying to save money, save time, and reduce food waste is to make a menu plan and a grocery list. So first, check what you already have in your kitchen and see if there's anything you need to use up. You don't want to accidentally buy something twice. Then list out the groceries that you need to execute your plan. This will make your shop feel much more straightforward and easier. This doesn't have to be a strict meal plan and doesn't even have to include any meal prepping. You could simply just write down the things you want to make for dinner that week. But sticking to a list and having a plan will help you save money because you only buy what you need, and it'll help you save time during the week. If you take one tip from this video, I hope that this is it. Second, utilize your freezer. One of the best ways to save money is by buying things in bulk, but that can feel counterintuitive if you're just cooking for one. What I like to do is buy things in bulk or make it in bulk and use my freezer to help extend the shelf life so I have an easy meal down the road. I always stock my freezer with meat or seafood in Costco sizes, super perishable foods like bread or berries, and batches of homemade stock and rice. Most foods can last in the freezer for several months, sometimes up to a year. Just make sure you do your research on how to freeze things safely and effectively, and label, label, label. Third, have recipes and use leftovers. Most recipes are geared towards households of 4 to 6 people. So if you're a household of 1 to 2, instead of having an insane amount of leftovers every time you make something new, learn to halve the recipe. This means dividing the quantity of all the ingredients in half or even by 3 so that you only get the number of servings that suits you. So for example, if I'm making our jalapeno popper burgers, I'll only use half the package of ground beef and I'll freeze the rest for a use another time. This might take some culinary math and might leave you with leftovers of specific ingredients, but think of it when you're meal planning down the road, or try substituting out specialty ingredients when you make your shopping list. Fourth, go plant-based. One of the ways that I save a lot of money at the grocery store, especially right now, is by focusing on meals that are plant-based. So many vegan and vegetarian protein options like beans, lentils, whole grains, and eggs are shelf-stable and last in your pantry a long time, which can mean less grocery shopping. As with any healthy eating pattern, you don't have to take an all-or-nothing approach. Even cutting back on meat 1 or 2 nights a week can help you save money and can even lead to some health benefits. 5, my favorite kitchen sink recipes. So these are some of the recipes I really lean on when I have produce that I need to use up, or I haven't been to the grocery store in a long time and I need to rely on pantry items. Shakshuka, basically all you need is a can of diced tomatoes and some eggs, but you can add any vegetables that you like. Similar to a stir fry with a quick teriyaki sauce that can use pantry staples like soy sauce and sesame oil. I love making frittatas to use up eggs and any vegetables. It's great for breakfast, lunch, or dinner. I also make a lot of pantry pastas, and you can use the pasta water to mimic a creamy texture without or with less cream because the water is full of starch from when the pasta was cooked. Veggie and bean stews. I use dried beans when I have the time, but canned beans work really well too. Tacos and rice bowls. This can use any leftover proteins, canned beans, canned fish, eggs, or even tofu, which is something I always have cubed in my freezer. You can definitely still eat really well, even if you're cooking for one. It just might take a little extra know-how and some planning. What are some of your favorite things to make for one? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching.